Hello, good morning. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what?
What? Sorry, I don't know whether you guys heard this or listened to this at home. I don't know what settings I've pressed. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another episode. When I pressed record, it went this meeting is being recorded. Anyway, that shocked me. I didn't realize that was a thing. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Robbo's Godcast Wrestling Podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we are going to discuss the last week of WWE action. And at the end, we're going to be discussing Raw, NXT, SmackDown, all of the big talking points that have come out from there. And then we're going to be doing our overall view. We will be discussing the releases from NXT. There was a superstar that has been released that has finally shared their story. And we will get into that later on as well. Not only that, new contract and a certain AEW commentator has put his point across and who he thinks is the best current superstar. So we've got a lot to discuss, especially NXT wise, because as you could probably tell watching this podcast, both really love NXT. And I think that
Yeah.
come across quite a lot. We also love NXT UK, and I've become a massive fan since lockdown of Progress Wrestling. So I'm hoping at some point we can do more stuff with Progress, and definitely when doors are opened up, hopefully me and Gulam will be going to some of these events together where we will vlog and go, look what we're doing. Let's say, hey people.
We'll see.
We'll see. But we'll see how it goes. Right. Let the bodies hit the floor. Welcome to Monday Night Raw.
It's
Let's
funny. It's
go
funny
on.
you say that actually, because I forgot to mention this last week because we were kind of all busy at that time. But
Mm.
the reason why I say that is because on the 14th of May, about two weeks ago, a legend from the ECW days died, and if you know what I'm talking about, it's New Jack. Did you hear about
I watched Paul Heyman's speech.
Yeah, I felt like we might miss the point opportunity there because in all honesty, none of us can really say a lot about New Jack because we weren't, watching around that time ECW. But I can say that when I was, growing up and hearing a little bit, more about the old ECW, his name was always brought up a lot. And to simply put what Paul Heyman said, Jack was somebody who was just not made for the mainstream. His style
Yeah,
was
and
completely out there. I know one thing I'll say quickly is that when Cena had the stabbing story, I don't know how true this is, but I've been hearing that a few times as well that New Jack was originally supposed to be the guy for that, but it was just too controversial.
it's an interesting thing because I remember bits about New Jack, not a lot. And I
Mm.
remember New Jack, and he was very much. I think if I remember, I could get this wrong, but I remember he went to WWE while he was with ECW.
I don't
And
know how accurate that might be. Because I know that he had some tryouts, and
so,
in
yeah,
his own
so
words, he's had tryout, but he never really got to do
I
anything.
can't
I think
remember
they
the
paid for him
wrestler's
for nothing.
name, but there was a wrestler that WWE paid ECW to have. And I
No,
remember
you're probably thinking of Too Cold Scorpio.
that's the one. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
different one.
but I remember New Jack, and with him, Paul Heyman was correct. And what Paul Heyman said is New Jack was a gangster not only in real life but in the ring, and in real life he really was one as well.
I mean,
And
I'm not trying to glorify the stuff he did because he did do some
yeah, he
pretty,
did
pretty
some
harsh
crazy
things.
shit.
I mean, in simple terms, he went into business for himself, and
Mm.
he wasn't afraid. He pretty much nearly killed his own opponents. So I can't really make him sound like he was a good guy. But at the end of the day, I'm just gonna say that he made a mark for the hardcore wrestling fans. And check out his promos; they were so ahead of his time. For the stuff he was saying. And I will say one thing which hasn't been said a lot, which has been brought up on Twitter, is that he had I don't know full story myself, but he had apparently disowned his son for being a drag queen,
Mm.
and it was recently brought up that he his missus I think he was with, she actually reached out to him and said that he was actually proud of him, and he wanted to reconnect, but just didn't know how to. So I think it's hearing that was enough to at least show that he still had a heart inside him, despite everything else.
Yeah. While you were writing that, I remember something. So perfect. So rest in peace. I hope you're at peace now. Let's get into Monday Night Raw. We're kicking off with my favorite tag team at this precise moment, the RKO. Riddle and Randy Orton. I don't know with you, but when I seen, look, I'm gonna be open and honest here. I sort of watch highlights of Raw at the moment, because I can't sit through 3 hours of it. So there might be other things going on. But my opinion on this is that there seems to be. I don't know whether Randy's rubbing off on Riddle or something, but it seems to instead of making Randy turn on Riddle, they're sort of making Riddle turn into Randy, more heelish.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I think in a way I mean, I didn't really expect that myself. I thought it was always going to be the complete. You have Riddle and Matt Riddle being the quirky, silly self that he can be, and Randy just being the straight up, hard as nails kind of guy, kind of thing, like basically like Matt and Pete Dunne. But I think if this is the direction they're going, I think this is the right way to go, because it shows that Matt isn't a complete jackass as he's been playing, on TV. So I think in a way this actually is a better direction for him, because it lets him show some attitude. And yeah, I think if it kind of gives him a slightly edgier side to him, which we never really got to see in NXT, I think this is the way to go.
I want to see Riddle as a fully fledged heel.
I'd like to see him as a heel as well, but the thing is, I don't like seeing these things when there's no crowd. I know that there's going to be a crowd soon anyway, which is good. But I think that if they're going to do that, at least
I think it's one of these things that you just have to do. With majority of things, yes, we need stuff for the crowd, but I feel like when crowds come back, Vince McMahon's going to go completely apeshit with creative. I feel like we're going to see Brock Lesnar, John Cena. I think we're going to see Goldberg. I think we're going to see everyone that he could get his money hands on are going to be coming in then. And also, remember as well.
I mean,
and I'm going to say this about new. Since the pandemic and since the fans, please correct me if I'm wrong, but on Raw or SmackDown, there has not been a debut apart from Edge, but you can't close that like a new signing that has shocked everything.
I mean,
I think everything's being built. Like, you haven't got, hypothetically saying, I'm not saying this is ever going to happen, not in the moment anyway. I'm really saying, like, during the pandemic era, we haven't had like Kenny Omega just randomly turn up on Raw. Like, what the fuck is this? What's happened here? What signing? Oh my god!
I know what you mean. But the thing is, though, it's like, who can they really sign in at this point? Because it's just like,
I'd be interested to see what they do.
I mean, at this point, quite a few of the people they want to get signed have all got some shit on their names right now. I mean, Will Ospreay's one of them.
Oh, I'd love to have him.
I'd like to have him as well, but he let himself down,
well, not really, because his partner's off to NXT UK.
No, but I'm trying to say, he kind of let himself down on that one when his name got brought up for, helping out.
Yeah, but he hasn't been proved or any allegation. We've got to remember.
He kind of admitted it. He kind of admitted in the so-called
at the same time,
video.
If he admitted it and he was as bad as what everyone else makes it to be, he wouldn't have a job in New Japan.
Look, I do like, I don't know how I can say this because it's so hard to say now. I do think Will's a great worker. I just think that he kind of let himself down on this one, so I can't defend him on this one. That's his own fault.
All I'm going to say is it hasn't been fully fledged. He hasn't come out and said it. And I know the statement you're talking about where he has said he's made mistakes. Yes, I have seen that statement. I have read it. But he has never admitted to anything that's been done. So we have to take that with it hasn't happened. As well as what we're going to be discussing later on, with a certain superstar that has left
But to say
NXT.
what I was saying, is that at this point, it's like a lot of the top names are either have either been basically extinct, if you will, or are just working elsewhere, signed elsewhere, etc. At this point, so there's no real big name which they can get hold of at this point
Yeah,
in time, really.
I agree. But the big step for me is knowing that I can't ever say it. Is it Beer Priestley?
Yeah, B Priestley.
She is
Yeah, I
go.
mean,
She was with AEW,
I
and
mean, I
then
wanted
left, and now she's
I
going
wanted
to
them to
NXT
sign.
UK.
I wanted them to sign Sadie Gibbs, but she's retired now, so
Mm.
it's
But
crazy.
Beer Priestley is now off to NXT UK. Very excited
We'll
for
see
that.
how it goes.
I'm very
But I
excited
will
for that.
say it'll be interesting to see. But at the same time, it's just like after all the controversy that's happened, how is she going to welcome into the locker room? It's the same thing I say with Tessa Blanchard. People are quick to pick on Eva Marie and say, oh, she's problematic, but you've still got these two you want to see get signed. Like they've got so much on them right now. Like, are you really sure you're
And
attacking the right person?
again, that has not been proven. So it doesn't matter what people think of what they say.
But the
It
thing
doesn't
is,
matter
no, no.
about them.
The
No, it
thing is with
doesn't matter about
Tessa,
the locker room. They have to get
the thing,
over it because it has never been.
the thing what I'm trying to say about Tessa is that she had her name not just dragged in the TNA locker room, there's also the AEW locker room and in the WWE locker room by some NXT talent. I remember one of them was Isla Dawn, and who else was it?
Chelsea Green was one of them.
Chelsea Green. Yes, yeah. So my point is that it's. I'm not saying nobody doesn't deserve a chance. I think everybody deserves a second chance, to prove them wrong. But I'm just saying at the same time, I just find it so funny how people like to pick and choose who they want to pick on. You understand?
Yeah, but that's just the internet, isn't it?
See, that's part of the. To be honest with you, the times I just want to come off Twitter. For times I just want to come off everything and just, you know.
Yeah. And then we had a bit of a surprise at the end when Lashley decided to do an open challenge. Kofi Kingston answered it and then beat him.
How do you feel about that?
Depends what they do with it.
Do you feel? I mean, I mean, I liked seeing Kofi win the title back in 2019. I'm not gonna lie, that was a great moment. He deserved that. When I was like 10 years in the making, the build-up was perfect and everything. Do I think now is the right time for a second reign for him? I can't say because I think that there are some. That's only because I think there are more guys right now that deserve it just a tad more than him at this point. So I wouldn't say Kofi doesn't deserve a second reign, but I'd rather it be after the other guys have had their time to shine. And I just don't want to see Kofi being the guy to beat.
Okay, so let's look at this. There's only 3 people I would say currently on Raw that could legitimately beat Kofi Kingston in any way. We're talking Drew McIntyre, we're talking Randy Orton, and I'm going to go with Kofi Kingston. The
What
reason,
about Keith Lee?
no,
He's not active, but I think he could be the perfect guy.
no, I don't. I think he's too fresh. He's too fresh. He's the NXT product. He's not the WWE product. The reason why I say that is you've got Randy Orton, who we all know just does anything he can to win and has that moveset to punish Lashley easily. You've got Drew McIntyre, who, to be fair to him, has the moveset and has the temperament to beat anyone. So he's got that all locked down perfectly. The reason why I put Kofi Kingston in there is he has that Daniel. I wouldn't say he has that Daniel Bryan because, well, yeah, he does. He has that Daniel Bryan-esque mentality and moveset where no matter who he goes up against, no matter size, shape, stamina, whoever, he will always slip his way into winning it somehow. And that's why it's a bit like Riddle. Riddle's getting there as well with that, where what happened with Lashley very much got all of the beatings up, did everything, whatever it was, and then went on to win the title and then lost it at WrestleMania, but now has got into one of the best views. Keith Lee is too fresh. He has the ability, but to me, there's still look. I love Keith
I
Lee,
think
and I've
I
said this
think
before. I love
I
Keith
think the
Lee.
problem with Keith Lee, I would say, is that the problem is that he's been off TV for so long. They really could have been building him up at this point for at least
No, I
a
don't think
massive
that he's
championship.
been off TV too long. I think that he had the issue with Keith Lee is his moveset,
You
and
think it's his moveset?
it's partially down to his moveset. Is when you're on NXT, you don't really need to tell a story. You need to put on a great show, and we all know that we do love like that or high flying spot moments, as Randy Orton calls it, spot monkeys, where they do
I'm
different
pretty sure
things.
everyone calls him that.
Yeah, do different things at different times. With WWE, you've got more eyes on it, so you need to do more storytelling to it. There needs to be more
Psychology.
intelligence, I would say, more intelligence to a match, and I don't think he's got that yet. He's a very good wrestler, and he's very well versed into doing different things, but
I think I think
he's
that
not nowhere near there.
I think if he hadn't been off, like they could have easily gone the Sheamus route with him and done that, best of 7 series tag team kind of thing at least. Because I think that would have helped him adjust a bit more to how things are done. But yeah, I think I'm hoping because his name's been brought up a few times, and I don't know, I didn't know where this rumor came from, but there were rumors that they'd released him, which I knew was nowhere near true. So
That's all.
I'm hoping that he'll be back sooner than later. A part of me's thinking it might not be until the crowd's over, which makes sense, I guess. But I reckon he'll be back sooner than later.
It'll be interesting. Let's move on to NXT. I know that you'll want to talk about this, so I'm going to click it off. Hit Row
I mean,
had
I
their
just wanted,
first tag
yeah,
team match in NXT.
yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was a great debut. I mean, they literally just, let them go out there. They didn't just let, if I remember correctly, because I saw this about a week ago, so I can't remember it perfectly. But from what I remember, we had, Ashanti, Tahiti Miles and AJ Francis, who's now Top Dollar. I'll say I do like AJ, but I just think they need to change his name a little bit because I don't think Top Dollar is really a name you can just go with. It needs to be, I call him Anthony Francis Top Dollar, something like that, or something along those lines. But that said, the way they performed in the ring and they just completely annihilated their opponents, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. And I liked the aggression that they were showing. They weren't just playing around. They legitimately looked like they were hungry to rip somebody's head off. And yeah, I think they, I think that was the first time people really saw that new side of them. And it looks like they're not just gonna keep they're gonna well. If you remember Isaiah's promo after, he basically said he's going to keep his eye out for the North American title. So I can definitely see them pushing him for that role this time. And now that he's in the group, I don't see him not holding a title for long now at this point. So I'm expecting a big things for them because it looks like they've pulled the trigger on them and they're really going to go the extra mile with them. The only downside I'll say is that there's not a full crowd for this. Because I'll tell you right now, if there was a full crowd for these guys, they'd be over as hell right now. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, my opinion.
Go for it.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
The end with the promo sold it. The end promo was better than their match, and that's worrying for me. They're very good talkers. They're very good building themselves up, and I like that. You normally don't get a 4-person tag team faction.
Well, it's a stable, really. So
yeah, a 4-person faction where all of them can deliver. Look, if you look at Undisputed Era, all of them apart from Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, maybe Roderick Strong definitely, but Bobby Fish very middle with that, weren't very good on promos. So in ring, there was no right for me for a tag team. There needs to be when I watch. Okay, so this is how I think about a tag team. Okay, when I watch the Hardy Boys, I look, you know what they're going to deliver: high flying, high octane, fast pace. Going to get beaten down, but they're going to come back and they're going to do it. I watch the Dudley Boys. You know that they're going to just do crazy stuff, or the table's going to get involved. I look at NXT right now and I look at the tag team champions MSK. You know what you're getting from them? High flying, fast paced. Then you've got the Santos goons, then Escobar's goons, then you've got them. You know what you're going to get from them. Fast paced. They're going to find any way to win it. With Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher, hard hitting. The Mysterios, the heart, the fight, the determination. You've got the Street Profits, the same Usos. By the way, we're going to discuss that in a fucking later on.
Oh, yeah.
That are coming back
we
as well,
have to.
doing that. With them, when I watched that, there was like with the Revival, old school, keep you in the
that
corner,
far, yeah.
build you down, doing it that way, and I love that tag team as well. When I watched them, I went, so he's just gonna do loads of really high drop kicks that are very flush to the face, and he's just gonna come in and throw them around. There's no continuity between them that makes them look like a tag team. It just looks like one person trying to outshine another one. It looks like maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know. They've got the big guy coming in doing big guy shit, and then the little guy doing little guy shit, and there's no continuity between them that makes you feel it. Isaiah, this is the most sold I have been on Isaiah Swerve Scott ever. And I am excited, and I'm slowly sold on him more and more every week. But that tag team needs to be refined because I don't like that.
Okay, I'll give you that. I understand where you're coming from. I think that it's just because at the same time it was just a squash match as well.
Yeah, no. It is. I don't care about the
I-
squash match or anything like that. It's just if you do a squash match, then you know what's going to happen. You know what the person are going to do, how good they are, and their skill set. It just looks like the little guy's learnt something that he could do really high drop kicks, are really good at them. That's just all he's going to do, and the big guy just looks like he's just going to fling you about. That
I
shouldn't
agree with
be
that part.
what
I'm
modern
sure that
day
won't be the
wrestling is.
case.
I hope it's
I'm
not,
sure that.
and I'm not saying it's going to be. But what I'm saying, this is why I'm not sold on them as a tag team. This is why I'm not.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'll give you that. They still got a lot to show on that one. I'm just saying that I like the way that they just came in aggressive. It wasn't just them, try to be what's the word? Just not being super cocky. You know what I'm saying? They were cocky, but they were basically in your face type, which I liked. And that's the kind of thing which I think will carry them a long way.
And I get why the big guy. I'm going to call him that now. The big
AJ.
guy is going to be in your face cocky because he's a former NFL player. That's what
Oh,
they
yeah,
do.
yeah.
That's what they're like. So I get why he's going to do that. I'm more interested, very much more interested, to see. I don't know her name, but I'm
Brandy
I'm very interested to see what
or
she's
B
like in the
B.
ring. Are they
Can't remember
going?
what it was again. It was a B something B. Flip sake. I have to look it up now just because I'm
But
such a nice
they're
guy.
very that if she can wrestle and do it really, really well, then they're the complete group. They all can wrestle. They all very good at it. But they need to redefine their roles into what they do. The tag team have to be a proper tag team. Swerve Scott has to be that leader and that fighter that does anything he can to win. And she needs to come in and prove to people that she can hang with.
I mean, I know that
You're gone.
B-Fab asset. Sorry. Yeah. What was it? Yeah, Brianna Brandy. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, her name was because I know who she is. I've seen her for numerous times. Yeah. I know. I know that she's what that a lot of them. Aside from Isaiah, have worked at NXT house shows, and I remember when Brianna was on the Raw Underground at one point. They even announced her by her real name. I think they were going to originally have to do some announcing there, which I'm glad they didn't just do. She's definitely should be doing more than that. But to answer your question, I can definitely see them doing something with them. I just, at the end of the day, we're still at early days right now, so we've still got a long way to go yet.
And talking of person that she needs to live up to the standard, Frankie Monnier is going to be debuting. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
I like the way they go. Huh?
You have no understanding how excited I am to see her in the ring.
I know that she's a tough girl and everything and whatnot. It'll be interesting to see how they use her. Obviously, I've never really watched a lot. I mean, I saw clips of her TNA stuff a few times in the past, but I know that she's a tough girl, so I know that they'll do something with her. how long they're going to keep her on NXT, I don't really know because everyone who's smart already knows that she's married to Morrison, so them two need to get together at some point on TV. Yeah, it'll be interesting because they've pretty much built her up around pretty much getting in the face of every woman on the show from Io Shirai,
Chauncey Blackheart, Ember Moon.
Caden Carr, I'm pretty sure as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting. That's one. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with her because they basically built her up now at this point. So it looks like they're trying to. Yeah, I can definitely see them putting her in the title picture at some point.
I think she's going to be the one that dethrones Raquel Gonzalez, and she has to be the one because
I suppose that's the right choice, but it has to make sense as well because Raquel. I've said this numerous times. Raquel needs to be running that division at this point.
I think she's going to be Frankie Mounier is going to be someone that is going to have to. She's going to have to help some of these. Look, Tony Storm has now got a new finisher. By the way, fucking incredible.
Yeah, I liked it. That was good.
Tony Storm has now upped her game. I would like to see her get against her. There's a lot of women in NXT that I feel like Frankie Mounier needs to go up against before she does anything with Raquel Gonzalez. But you should always have her in the background. It's always one of those things that you should have. Like anytime Raquel Gonzalez does something, Frankie Mounier's there in the background doing something else. You should always have her eyes and everything. And then once it gets down to it, it feels special. It feels like a long-term story. Like Raquel Gonzalez is having an interview and talking to someone, and then Frankie just walks across and does different things, or in the background talking to someone, and she's there in the background doing something. Long-term story planning, and NXT is quite good at that sometimes. And doing that. Talking of
the thing which I don't want to see them do is that I don't want to see them do that thing which they've done before, which is where they put them in the title picture before she's even ready, and then they just have it look like she came close to winning. I'm like, I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing people debut like that because I think it just kind of kills their momentum before they really start. You're just like you have to watch them repair themselves over a year and a bit to say that that's the thing which I want to see them avoid doing.
Talking of Raquel Gonzalez, her and Dakota Kai are now challengers for the women's tag team titles that was coming up. I don't know how I feel about that.
Who was that again, sir?
Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are now #1 contenders for the women's tag team titles, which should be happening either this week or next week. I think
I must have thought that wasn't going to happen, to be honest.
Which I think the title match is happening not this week, maybe next week.
But I don't. This is the thing as well. I've noticed. So I think they've kind of put themselves in a hot potato situation with the women's tag team titles on that show.
See, I do and I don't. I think there's lots of women on there that they could use to do really well with, but they haven't established that. It's a bit like Raw and SmackDown, to be honest. They haven't established that women's tag team division enough yet. So my issue with that is I'm gonna call it now. The way are gonna win, but they're gonna win by Dakota getting pinned. Okay, Dakota's gonna get pinned for the win, or Raquel's gonna lose, and I feel like maybe Dakota turns her back on her.
Right.
To set up for in your house, Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the women's title.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm calling it. I could be completely and utterly wrong, but I'm calling it.
That'll be a first time.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Like I said, like I was saying, I don't want to see anyone, with Raquel at this point. I want to see Raquel just dominating that division because of the way I see it, she's the biggest woman on the show right now. So she shouldn't be, even looking like that person can beat her. You know what I'm trying to say? At this point, she has to be like the Karrion Kross of that division, the Roman Reigns of that division. She has to be completely annihilating everyone that even tries to touch her. But that makes sense. That's how she should be. Not, oh, it was a David in the live situation and it looks like this. No.
So, talking of David and Goliath, Ted DiBiase come back to distract Cameron Grimes.
Yes.
To lose. And it's also being reported that the $1 Million Championship is making its way back into WWE on NXT.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, but at the same time, I don't know how I feel about it as well because they've done that. It's not the first time they brought back the $1 million championship, and it was only for for a little bit, and then he took it back off again because they
Yeah,
gave
but
it to
wasn't that Ted DiBiase Jr. that had it?
yeah, it was a junior for a bit, but then after oh, 1 second, I'll keep talking. I'm just gonna go on the phone.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know whether you guys are gonna hear that. I need to. I'm not gonna edit it, so we'll find out together. So yeah, so $1 million championship's coming back. Apparently it's
Yeah,
going to come back with Ted DiBiase. Um, I hope they do it in a way that it teams up Ted DiBiase and Cameron Grimes, where Ted DiBiase becomes Cameron Grimes' manager. And I hope they do it in a way that it's not like they did with the basketball with Ted DiBiase. If you could bounce this 5 times, you will win the title, and then just completely kick it away. I hope they do it in a way that Cameron Grimes probably never loses that title, unless Ted DiBiase finds someone that he could pay to do it. I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm really interested in. This story is I really love this story. I absolutely love
I'm
it.
happy that they've gone this route as well because you can tell that Ted's basically still got the character in him and he can still pull it off. Um, what I was trying to say was that I just don't want it to be a short-lived run with the $1 million championship because I think they can really make something off that title instead of just making it into a
Hmm?
small attraction kind of thing. But because I remember people went crazy when Ted DiBiase Jr. had it, and that didn't really go far for him. If I remember correctly, did it?
No.
So I'm not sure how much of that is Ted's fault, but
I can't remember if it's next week or the week after. We've got Karrion Cross versus
oh yeah,
Finn Balor for the
oh yeah,
NXT title.
that that build up though, uh, I can't tell you like that's one of those like I'm not usually like sometimes I skip these sort of things, but that one I definitely did not skip, and it was the way they they put that package together. I think it was nicely done. Uh, this might just be because I'm a Paul Heyman guy, but Paul Heyman always just makes it just a bit more interesting. There's a
Yeah,
bit
that
where
video package where they got all wrestlers of SmackDown and Raw and
Mhm.
everyone together. That was epic.
And the bit where he mentioned that Roman might be watching as well, and everyone was all making speculation that we could get Roman versus Finn and Roman versus Carrie at some point. It's just yeah,
I
that's
hope
the kind
they
of stuff
bring
I
in
want to see.
I hope they bring NXT in for Survivor Series.
I'm hoping. I reckon they'll do it this year. I reckon it'll be it'll be this year for sure.
And NXT UK. Give them some love.
Well, that depends if they can make any cuts, as I've heard.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So we've got a new champion. After winning in the steel cage match, he's finally got to pose that picture with Triple H. Which, by the way, if you're watching this or seeing this, you can tell by the thumbnail that it's front and center. With Triple H. Bronson Reed is now the new North American champion, coming through, fighting through the way to get his title and winning it, beating Austin Theory and Johnny Wrestling to get that title.
I'm, I'm. This is again. I'm going to say this is one of those moments I wish there was a crowd for it because that crowd would have erupted for him.
It was a
I
crowd.
remember, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, like the reason I'm saying that I remember last year, yeah,
Hmm.
this was just a year ago. I remember reading reports that the officials weren't high on him. So yeah, I was like, I'm hoping this isn't true, and hoping that he's going to be able to work around that. And when you hear stuff like that, you already that is never a good start, and that can easily mean that won't be around for too long. And I'm glad to say that he's pretty much like basically he's a huge difference from. There's a big difference now from where he is today than where he was last year, and I'm glad to say that he's reaching his expectation. He's reaching his goals now. I'm hoping that they can do something with him at
Mm.
this point.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they do with the next steps of that.
I will say, I've always wanted to say this. I will say, I do wish that because I know that him, Shane Thorne, Mikey Nichols, Brandon Vink. I know that these guys were all in a stable in Australia called TMDK, I do wish that they got signed together when when they were coming in, because I think that he could have really helped out TM61 when they were together. Obviously things happen for the way they are, but I just think that they coming together, things would have been a lot different for them as a state. I mean, they could have been like they could have been Undisputed Era before Undisputed Era, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So excellent episode, brilliant episodes. I do love NXT. It's getting better and better every week. So let's get on to Friday.
Don't say that too loud, you might get attacked by the AEW fans.
Couldn't give a fuck. Now we go on to Friday Night SmackDown, where we saw that Jimmy Uso asked Sonya Deville to make a match between the Uso versus the Street Profits. By the way, this is a thing now, so you just have to deal with it. Versus the Street Profits. Interesting to see what happens here. Street Profits need to get on a roll again to try and do something with those titles. Not only that, something needs to happen between Jimmy and Roman to set up Hell in a Cell.
I will say this, like, I can just imagine how it would have been if it was in front of a crowd. And I keep saying that, but it's just because that's the moment which would have been perfect for it. Just, seeing there being like,
just forget about crowds. Right.
Yeah, I'm trying
From now on,
okay.
no, it's easy. Just forget that they're not there. Just what about your person?
What I'm trying to say.
Don't give a fuck about them. They're American.
Okay.
Trigger a fan base.
He's trying to get us in trouble or something.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, what I'm trying to say is I can just picture it being like, the tag teams are all, Street Profits in the ring. They're trying to, get everybody's attention, and not get everybody's attention, but it just, they say something, and all of a sudden all the other SmackDown tag teams come in. There's a huge like Rumble kind of thing, and out of nowhere, it's just the Street Profits have just cleared the ring, and they're the ones standing tall, and from the crowd comes the Usos, and I can just imagine that kind of moment would have been like the ultimate, crazy, because them two are basically made for each other, if that makes sense. And
I'm calling it now. At the end of the match, Roman Reigns spears one of them.
I will say this: I would love to see Roman versus Montez Ford someday, because I think that would be an interesting match to see.
I'm predicting this now. Hell in a Cell is 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away. And then after that's Money in the Bank.
4 weeks.
3-4 weeks away. I'm calling it now. Hell in a Cell is going to be Roman versus Jimmy.
Well, it looks like they're going to go that direction. At first, I wasn't too sure, because obviously it's the smart move because it makes sense. But I just hope that they don't overkill it. Like they can, like they have done in the past with, other storylines and
Yeah, but what you got to think about as well is this is no normal storyline. This is Roman Reigns' storyline and Paul Heyman's storyline. So I think no matter what they do, this is going to be special.
It will be interesting to see how it goes down.
Also, I'm very interested to see how Jimmy is one-on-one. We've all seen Jay in the ring on his own, doing extremely well, winning the Andre Memorial Battle Royal. We've also seen
Battle Royal.
Yeah, the fucking really long word. And we've also seen how he's done against Nakamura, Daniel Bryan, Edge. He may not have won it, but he's come off looking fucking good out of that. I'm interested to see if Jimmy's got that level.
I think Jimmy will be okay, because he had a good match with Cesaro a couple of weeks ago. I don't think we really got to talk about that. So So I think he had a pretty good match, for the first time. Yeah, this is his first singles match as well, so that's another tick as well. I think for it to be his first match, I think as well, it looks like they're going to also use the leg. Sorry, I can't remember what was that. The leg. Messing up my words now. You can tell his leg's still taped up and everything, so it looks like they're going to work around that as well. I'm trying to say, because he had a torn meniscus, remember?
Yeah.
So he's going to have that as well.
When you have that type of injury, it's never healed. So it's one of those things that is always great for a storyline
Yeah,
use.
I
You
mean,
can be fit, but it's never
yeah,
100%.
I mean, I can speak from my experience. I've had a torn meniscus and torn, separated my kneecap, so I know that my right knee, while it's healed up, I can still have days when I have to relax it just a little before I do anything. Um, in Jimmy's case, I'm gonna say that they're definitely gonna be extra cautious with what they do with him in the ring. But what I wanted to say was that I think that he had a because don't forget Cesaro, when you're trying to match Cesaro style in the ring, you have to be quick. You know, you have to be on your feet.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to throw you in the air for a clothesline. Can you handle that? You know, impact and everything. And I think he had a good match. You know, for the first time in a while. I just think that I think the smart thing to do would be not to rely on him too much, if that makes sense. So like, have him be the guy who does the sorry, like, I'm probably gonna have people, you know, coming at me for the sakes, but I will say let Jay try and carry some of it, and let Jimmy, you know, come in where necessary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But don't overkill it. Don't overkill it.
Talking of Cesaro, let's move on. Talking of Cesaro, he got attacked by the Drip King, Seth Rollins, again, leading to what is most probably going to be a Hell in a Cell match, at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. I think Seth's cursed the Hell in a Cell.
I saw someone say this, right, and I want to get your opinion on this. Talking about Seth Rollins, someone put it's halfway. We're now halfway through. We're nearly halfway through to 2021. Okay,
That's hard to believe, but yeah.
yeah, I know. Who's had the best 2021? And I saw a lot of people go Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it should be.
Bryan,
I say that.
Someone then said Seth Rollins, and I went,
I love it.
and I went, okay. Let me see why. They said he finally has a character.
We're gonna put him music.
Yeah, and he finally has something that makes him, as he calls himself now, the Drip King. He's becoming to have that all-round ability. He's becoming, and you know what? That put a spanner in the works for me, because I really looked at that and went, do you know what? I think they're right. Seth Rollins is a character that he loves to play. Not only that, he's believable as a heel and everyone loves him. I agree with that. I think Seth Rollins is having the best 2021. So one of the best 2021 so far. And not only that, I think as well, he's having the best time of his career so far as well in WWE, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think myself. I think Roman purely because, you know, he's pretty much being the guy that's running.
Roman Reigns is definitely it, but Seth Rollins is up there.
I'll say, so I'm just coming out of my buildings just so I can get quieter. Yeah, I'll say that Seth, in my opinion, improves his character a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I remember the things last year. I think at first he was just, you know, calling himself the Messiah, and you know, that kind of, I'm not saying kind of lost his touch, but it's like you can only keep doing that for so long. You know what I mean? And you know, I can say you can only cosplay as John Wick for so long as well before it gets boring. I like John Wick. Who doesn't? Was that a disagreement?
That means I haven't watched the films.
So yeah, that can only keep carrying on for so long.
Get crap. Carry on.
Yeah, I'll say Seth, in my opinion, is one who can keep himself relevant. That makes sense. And you know, I think while people may get sick of seeing him win titles all the time, he still makes, you know, gives you a reason for him to want to win it. If that makes sense.
No, I completely agree. One last thing before we get on to other news. Why I'll just move a wire because it's doing my nutting. One more news before we get into other news around what's happened outside of, in WWE and outside as well. Fatal 4-Way IC title. It's getting the recognition it finally deserves. The IC title looks a legitimate championship. 4 guys who I think was one of the best Fatal 4-Way matches I've seen in a very, very long time. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Apollo, and Big E. That's becoming a thing now. We've got two things, especially when I say Oos.
Oh.
Okay. And Apollo as well.
You have to be longer than that, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I can't. I haven't got this. I can't be bothered. I've only got that. Excellent match. Very, very interesting ending.
Can I just say, I think Apollo Crews is really, you know.
No. You don't get away with it like that. You got to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm at the office, man. I can't just do that.
I don't care.
I'm not going to do it because I'm at the office.
All right. Right. If you want me to do it, you just go quiet and look at me and nod before you say anything, and I'll do it for you.
What I was going to say was that I think he's owning his role. And,
Who?
I remember people.
Apollo! Okay.
He's owning his role. And, like, I remember people, hating on him for doing it, at first. You actually crying or something.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant. I'm making myself laugh. Anyway, carry on.
You do that in general, mate. They have to cry. But what I was saying was that I think that he's really owning his role right now.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's just coming in and I mean I've said it before. If he had come in with the accent that he's doing now, I would have thought he was a native.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a racist way. I'm saying that I would have thought he was from Nigeria. The way he's talking.
I completely
I think
agree.
anything which is missing is if he actually spoke some Nigerian language. If he does that, then he'll really make it work some more. But that said, I think he's really shown more personality, and he's in a much better position.
About Apollo. Enough.
That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm saying.
We need to discuss the man that's come from the mist, from the deep, dark dells of Dutchland, from the man that doesn't like tulips in his basket when he's cycling. He likes death. By the way, I'm gonna ask this because I might be quite. Has the Bat got more tattoos since the last time we've seen him?
I don't know about that. I know that one time I saw in the picture, it looks like they're still getting one done. It's possible. I know that he's definitely lost some weight since he's come back.
He looks good. Anyway, by the way, the Black Mass is probably up there with the top 5 best finishers in WWE right now.
Oh no, Dan! I think it's probably. Would you say better than the Super Kick?
Yeah.
I'll say that
the Super Kick is so overused right now.
I'll say that in terms of the build up of theatric Super, Sweet Chin Music will always be at the top of that. But I think the Black Mass, the way he does it, the way he executes it,
just kickstand. Sorry.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? No, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm trying to say is that the way he executes it, he doesn't really he'll raise his hands up like that before he does it and all. But then he will he makes it look like because he's got the kickboxing background as well, he can make it look more like he'll kill kick your head off. That makes sense.
The Black Mass just looks terrifying. It looks when that's connected, you're just out, and that's the thing that I see with the Black Mass. And do you know what? A nice little touch that he kept the right eye is not back to normal because of what Seth Rollins did. They kept that.
That was a
nice,
good call.
Nice little touch there. I'm gonna have to.
Can I just say? I just want to say that I'm so glad I didn't see the spoiler for that because I'm usually good at doing that.
I did.
And you did.
Yeah.
And
then I went,
one
fuck,
spoiler.
I gotta watch it now.
The only spoiler I saw for that show was Ricky, showing up with Shinsuke. That was the only spoiler I saw. And that was all.
The Boogs.
I knew him before even. I knew him before he was the Boogs, so I can say that. I'm saying I can say I knew him before he was the Boogs.
Oh, so did I. But the Boogs do you know what? Pat McAfee made that. When he goes, he's shredding. He's shredding. And he just stood over there on Michael Cole doing that. I was like, yes. And then Baron Corbin just turned around to Pat McAfee and goes, stop dancing like that to him. Oh, fuck. I laughed.
I thought it was a great segment. I've seen one guy trash it on Twitter. I'm not going to say his name. But I've seen him calling it cringe and everything. I'm like, if AEW would do it, you'd be cheering it. Thank you.
I want this Boogs thing to stay. I'm loving Eric Boogs.
Yeah, I like it too. I'm hoping that they, keep into a long-term thing, and this might even turn him into a full-time, full-time performer. Hello, help desk.
Hello, help desk. How can I help you? Hello, how are you? The Boogs is back. He's shredding all over. Looks like there's going to be a new king on Smackdown with Shinsuke taking the crown and moving it away. At the same time, great storytelling gives Corbin another layer to him, and also at the same time it keeps Nakamura on the TV that we all want to see and all want to hear. Excellent promos. Eric Booth coming out shredding that guitar, and I want to say as well, special shout out to Pat McAfee as well, who is absolutely selling it all. We all know how good he is on the mic. We know how good that he can be. And we all know how well this thing's going to be done with him in the future. And we know that the future is very, very bright with him, young Skywalker.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, so Pat McAfee's excellent. The Boogs is excellent. Nakamura's brilliant. Gives Corbin in a storyline to when they lose the crown from him as well. But excellent.
Yeah, as I was saying, when I saw that segment, I was happy as anything seeing it. I'm just saying, I saw one guy in particular who I was seeing on Twitter. He was trashy. He was like, "Oh, it was so cringe," and making it like Shinsuke just nicked his crown like a child. And I'm just like, just lighten up, It's not that. It's just having fun, it's just giving him something to do and watch how it takes off and gets over.
Yep.
If this was on AEW, you guys would make it sound like it's the greatest thing on earth and how creative that they are with their stuff there. That's what I'm trying to say.
So yeah, let's move on. Other news that's happened during that time. We've got a lot more to discuss, so we're going to have to try and go through it quite quickly because we've been here for a while now. NXT releases. They were going to do it 3 weeks ago with some of them, but they held off to certain contracts were running down. So they waited for them to expire, as well as the same time they wanted to give it a fresh time, so they did that. Drake Wirtz has been released. Jake Clemens, one of the referees, very much a surprise for me. Alexandra Wolf has been released. Jessamine Duke, Vanessa Bourne, Skylar Story or Brandy Lauren, as well as Kavita Devi.
Kavita Devi,
yeah. And the very, very noticeable Velveteen Dream. Hit it! I'm gonna miss that entrance, by the way.
I think we all will, to be honest.
So Alexandra Wolf, just before we ask you a bit about it, just so that people get a little bit of the story if you haven't seen and you live under a rock. Alexandra Wolf contract expired, and they didn't want him, and they weren't going to offer him a new contract. They weren't going to do that because of, as he was told, budget cuts. He told a podcast in Germany. So he got released. So he stayed to finish out a feud or finish out a storyline to go, which he did, which then Imperium attacked him last week to get rid of him out of Imperium. With now it's just Fabian Aichner and Marcel Bartel as the only members, with Zvalda in Imperium.
I'm really last one ever to do that.
I love him. I
like him as well. I do struggle not to laugh whenever someone else does it.
What's Vada?
Yeah, exactly. It's the way he did do it,
Alexandra Wolf, right? Yeah. So for me, Alexandra Wolf has been someone that, since Sanity went, has struggled. When he's been in NXT UK or NXT, he hasn't done anything memorable with Imperium to me to stand out to be Imperium. He just seems to be like they found a job for someone and they've just put him in it. And
I mean, I've always liked him, so I never had a problem with him. I was going to say I thought that he said he didn't want to resign. Want to sign.
Well, I've seen two things. I've seen one where he said that they didn't want to sign him a new contract. And I've also said somewhere else where he's also said that he didn't want to sign. So I've seen two different things. So he's doing an interview on a podcast with the Angle podcast coming soon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna check that out. So watch that, see what he says on
But
there.
yeah, to say, I mean, I'm surprised as well because I thought they could have done something with him. I feel like, obviously Sanity when that, went downhill, I didn't really do him a lot of favors as well because I didn't, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really see him going far on the main roster on his own, honestly, because there was nothing really there that he could do besides being a background guy. Just probably harsh of me to say, but that is the truth. He obviously worked better in a tag team or on the indies than he would on in that kind of mainstream level. Because I'm trying to say.
Let's go through each of them.
Yeah, go for it.
Quickly. Drake Wirtz, very controversial figure with some of the stuff that he said and done. According to reports, I'm just going to say this and I'll leave it over to you. He lost a lot of respect with other colleagues. He lost a lot of the dressing room with the things he was coming out and saying. The reason why he lasted a lot longer was due to the fact that he was head of refereeing of NXT. And what they wanted to do was to see if Triple H found him in high regard. As we all know, he always covered all the big matches. He also did a lot of stuff at NXT UK when they come over here as well. Look, let's look at this in two ways. Refereeing, brilliant. Absolutely. Always finds the right positions, always does really well when he's a referee. Away from the ring, bit of a fucking nutcase.
I'm just gonna say I didn't have a problem with him at first to begin with. I thought, okay, I know he's a former deathmatch guy and everything, so I know that he has that background.
Isn't he a priest as well?
I don't know. There's only so much stuff I can follow. It's just like when I started hearing about all these other things outside the I was just like, oh god. But then the thing which probably made me really lose interest is when I saw him on that Zoom chat where he.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say what he said because I've got people around me, but yeah, I just when I heard him say that, I was just like, can we just fire this guy now?
Yeah. So Jake Clemens.
And then I hear about the incident with him and EJ. I'm sure he also got released as well. And basically, Ezra, who was a PC guy at the Performance Center, friends with Ricochet and friends with Reginald and also friends with Moose. I heard that he got into a confrontation with him, and I do wish that he got to knock him out of that, wherever it was, because I think somebody needs to shut him up. Because apparently he even walked out of a meeting when Triple H was addressing the racial issues. I don't know what it was, but apparently he didn't like what Triple H was saying. And I'll say also Ezra, who's been released. I'm hoping that that somebody signs him, makes him into a star because he's got the tools to be something from what I've seen. Hopefully Japan.
Yeah. So Jessamine Duke has come out and said that she probably will not be wrestling anymore. And she's going to go into more of the up, down, down content that she was doing over there, and doing more videos. So fair play to her. Vanessa Bourne.
I don't know if you just saw, but I just shrugged at that because I didn't really have a problem with her, but I just don't think I ever really saw her going far in the begin with.
Vanessa Bourne.
I feel bad for
Brandy
Vanessa.
Lauren. Who?
I felt bad for Vanessa because she had a character and she had
But did she? I was never sold on her at all.
And I've seen a lot of people say online that they thought that her Vision character would have got over, and apparently she said that they gave it to. It's pretty much been hinted they took it and gave it to Seth Rollins instead, which I guess kind of left a bad taste in her mouth, which I don't blame her for, because I saw that video of her where she gave her feelings out and gave a little. She basically let off. Gave spoke her mind, and I think fair play to her. I think she'll go far wherever she goes. So I'm expecting to see us. I won't be surprised if she goes to AEW.
No, she'll be up at Impact. That's
either Impact or Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
As for Brandy, I remember she got signed about a year ago. I didn't know her that well. I know that she was part of Progress, as Progress, and I don't remember which other promotion as well. I know that she's a Joey Janela's girlfriend as well.
Who?
Lucky bastard. Her,
Who?
Joey Janela,
Who?
AEW.
Meh. Last one, and let's get into it. I'm gonna have to go on a little speech and in a minute about it.
There we go. Yeah, we have to. Well, let's be honest. We have to. Can't ignore it.
Yeah, but we're not gonna keep it too long because we've got quite a lot to get through as well. Velveteen Dream, hit it.
It's such a shame. It's such a shame we never saw them on TV as much as that could have been your thing as well.
I would love to do that. Right. So I've got to be very careful how I do this. So
I'm just gonna say,
yeah. So all I'm gonna say is yeah, you do your bit because I'm gonna have to be careful in what I say.
I'm just gonna say what I've said already. I feel like I mean, I know people are gonna come in line. Whoever watches our podcast, be like, oh, but I saw your tweet. You were like, oh, you were just like, oh well, we'll move on from this. I'm like, I never said anything against him. I never said that he'd done it. I just said that they've obviously given up on him, and he just don't see the point of keeping him. I never said that he'd done it. Do I think he's done it? I'm just gonna say this: innocent until proven guilty as well. A lot of people just jumped the gun on him and have made him sound like he's like they know him well enough that he committed it and have mixed it up with his backstage attitude and everything. And I'm just like, I get that he's not been the most professional guy to work with, and that he wasn't easy for some people apparently, but you shouldn't use that as a way of saying, oh, that means he must have done it, kind of thing. As for his statement he gave, earlier on, I feel like that does answer some questions because, he was kept, he was quiet for some time, on the matter, and if there was to keep kayfabe, in that manner, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I will say that, had they just let him speak up last year, things might have been a bit different. Yeah, it is a different.
So here we go.
Karen,
So two people come out 2 years ago in 2019 and said that
2020.
19, whenever it was. Basically, he's come out and said that one of the people messaged him. He said his DMs were open with anyone that had any questions about physique, character, or promos. One person messaged him, and he answered their questions to what they were doing, asking a lot of different questions, and then he left it at that. Another person, same thing. It said, he was having struggle to ask different questions. So according to him, he sent a message in Velveteen's voice to try and give him more confidence to do things moving on with the future. He did say as well at the same time that he asked WWE to investigate, and they did, and they found that the day later that these, as soon as it all went over Twitter and everything come out, he said that WWE then went on investigation and looked it up, and the person that did it deleted their account. Went completely. He said that it's the people as well. Said that they never spoke to WWE during the investigation, and it's saying the same thing. They deleted their account and couldn't get hold of them, so they didn't know where they were. The main, and I spoke to you about this earlier. The main thing that. Look, I'm very much innocent until proven guilty, and he's never been found guilty. He's been open now, but when the Me Too movement happened, is it the Me Too? No, the speaking out, whatever movement it was.
Yes.
The movement.
It's cancel culture evil anyway.
Yeah. No. Well, it's not the cancel culture because there was certain things that have been said about certain wrestlers that have come true. Travis.
Well, what I said, what I didn't get to say was that, like, if you look at him compared to everyone else who got accused, pretty much, admitted to it and got fired straight away. I mean, Jack Gallagher, that idiot, what's his name, Kiwi Buzzsaw, Travis Banks, he was fired straight away because of what he'd done to Millie McKenzie.
And then there was El Ligro.
He's another idiot as well. I never liked him.
So, listen, the issue that I have here is he's taken so long to come out and say something. When we had that movement before, when rightly so, women wrestlers come out and said what's happened to them before and cancel the people like Joey Ryan as well that have done all of this. He never said anything. And this still gripes my grip and it fucks me off because when everything happened, if they were innocent, look at Matt Riddle. He come out and said, look,
But then
it's
again,
false. Certain things have happened and certain things did, but you lied. You did things. He come out and did his name.
the
But
thing
then
is,
he
I'll
says,
say this.
hold on.
Yeah,
I said I'm going to go on a rant, so I'm going on one.
Go for it.
Um,
Go for it.
So the thing that also I don't understand, and the thing that really got me was he cared more about the character of Velveteen Dream than he did about clearing his name. And to me, that's iffy. To me, that's very, very iffy because it will never happen, but if someone decides, and I don't think they fucking ever would because,
Yeah, of course.
but if they're anything like that, you would want to clear your name straight away. But he wanted to keep kayfabe, and that
I mean, he
I
never. The
understand
thing
what
is,
he's saying.
no.
True issues,
When you
fine.
say clear your name, I think he technically already cleared his name. He just didn't see the point of clearing it to the audience because I think in his mind they were just going to judge him anyway. So I think as long
Yeah,
as
but
he
it
cleared his
doesn't.
name,
But then, but it doesn't. But he
I
has
agree.
to. He has to clear
I
his name
agree.
to
It
the
doesn't
audience.
make sense.
It's one of those that
But when
it's not
when
like
you
when
say
you're in, right. Hold on. It's not like when you're at football, right? If you're playing football and certain things happen, like you get arrested, all this and all of that, you go on a football pitch, you're gonna get booed, okay?
of
But the
course, yeah,
fans are still going to turn up. You get names shouted, you blah 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 blah.
I
When you
agree.
get
I get what's
this,
from yeah.
when you get this done, the audience are the one that pay for your merchandise. They pay for your thingy. They pay for tickets to come and see you. They boo you. They cheer you. They do whatever. But come on,
I do.
it's just
Sorry. The thing with the Matt Riddle situation is that
angers
when you
me.
talk about keeping in character, I think that you have to understand is that when Matt spoke out, he kind of spoke in character as well because he's known for like if you remember his statement, he kind of said it in a bit of his Matt Riddle, twatty dickhead kind of way. So I think he was kind of keeping in character when he did that. So
Yeah, and I get that, but at the same time, when he wasn't
but
accused
I think
about touching underage children or messaging underage
he
people.
never really. The thing is, he never really did that. That's the thing. They just accused him of sending inappropriate pictures. So I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, I
know.
know that, but I'm just saying that type of thing. He's dug himself into a massive hole.
I don't think that he was doing it on his own call. I think it might have been that he was told not to say anything as well.
But
Because I don't
how
think
can he be told not to say stuff, but Matt Riddle and majority of other people that have been found or done anything to protest their innocence?
if not, if that's not the case, then it's his own fault for not having enough
Yeah,
brains to know where to draw the line between real life and kayfabe. And it just goes to show you that things are still the same as it was for 50 years ago when it comes to people trying to keep protect the business as they call it.
just makes zero
So
sense. Anyway,
but
moving on.
I will say,
You can
I
go
will
and
say,
check his statement is on Instagram
all I'm
now.
gonna say,
So go and check it.
all I'm gonna say is that the way I see it at this point, he has to be smart now. Clear your name
Yeah.
if you can. He hasn't got any WWE attorneys on him right now, so he's gonna have to do it on himself. It's just Patrick Clark doing it now. If he's a smart guy, he'll do that. Or if not, you know, I'm trying to say
Yeah.
you have to do something. He has to do something about it now. He can't just leave it. You can't just walk around with this on him. I'll say this: the guys who accused him, where are they now?
Probably tweeted somewhere saying that he's still lying.
But we haven't heard from them ever since. Like one of them just got recently outed for being a racist.
Hmm.
Where's the outrage? Where's the outrage on that? So it doesn't. A lot of it doesn't make sense. I'm going to be honest with you, but I think this, if Patrick Clark has any sense, he'll take this further and he'll do something to clear his name and get himself back to where he was.
Yeah. Right,
Otherwise,
let's move on. We've got a couple more things to discuss.
go for it. Yeah.
Daniel Bryan is apparently very, very soon going to sign a new WWE contract. Less working days, more money, and more money on the shows that he turns up for, and he gets more creative in the storylines that he does. moving forward. He's apparently turned down contracts from all the other places. According to reports, he's turned down from AEW, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, plus Ring of Honor as well, which gave him his first start.
Cool.
And things as well, to come back to WWE to do more stuff, which is excellent news.
I think.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I'll say this: if he's a smart guy. I don't think he needs to go anywhere else at this point in his career. Because what else can he do? He's not that young kid he was 10 years ago. He has to, think about himself. He has to think about his well-being. He has to think about his children.
Yep, I completely agree.
I think people I see all the time. Oh, but what about him versus Okada? What about him versus? I'm just like, he's 40-something years old now. He's been doing this for almost 20-something years now.
Yeah,
he's not he's not the fresh guy he was all those years ago. He can't work the same way he did. He can easily do his neck in at any time.
Yeah, but to be fair, I would like to see him versus Okada.
I'd love to see him versus Okada. I'd love to see him versus. I can't, Kenta. I'd love to see him versus.
I couldn't give a fuck about Kenta.
Really?
Yeah, he's trash. So moving on to the next one. One thing I added at the start of this, the Ultimate Warrior Dark Side of the Ring documentary.
I wasn't gonna get into this one, but I'm gonna say this. I've been watching the Dark Side of the Ring episodes, for the season, top notch.
I haven't watched
Great
them.
show.
I need to watch them.
You need to watch it. The Brian Pillman one was definitely a great one. I'll say that right now. I'll say
yeah, go on.
I'll say I have more respect for Brian Pillman Jr. than I had before. Not because I didn't have any respect for him before, but I'm saying after watching that one, I kind of respect that kid a bit more. Not just for the fact that he's carrying on his father's name and trying to be the star, and keep making proud and everything. But it's just the part where he's basically said that I could be mad at my mum for the rest of my life. I could hate my mum forever, but it won't make any difference. So, the bit where he basically said that he's trying to build a relationship with his mum, after everything that happened, I thought that was
I don't even know what's happened.
You're gonna watch it, you'll see what happened. As for the Ultimate Warrior thing, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't happy when I found out that they were gonna do that, because I'm like, my way of thinking is the guy's dead.
So is Brian Pillman.
He can't speak for himself. He already, he made amends with everyone before he died. Why are we still, bad mouthing him all these years later? I just don't.
You
see
can't have it one way with Brian Pillman and have it another way with Ultimate Warrior.
I mean, what I'm saying is that what's the point of it at this point? What are you going to tell us? Oh, he said this, he said that. We already know that. It's on the internet. What's the point of bringing it up? We're just trying to, there's no use of constantly. It makes me laugh whenever I hear guys like Jim Ross and Jim Cornette always say, I hate to speak of the dead. And then they continue to do so when it comes to Warrior. That kind of stuff does my head in.
The issue is I'm very much for making a documentary for people. Look, this type of documentary will be for people, i.e. like myself, that have no idea. I'm very much in the dark. I'm not one of those people that goes depths and beyond to look at what's happened in the past. If there's a documentary out, I'll watch it. If there's certain things that happen, I'll watch it. Like the Andre the Giant documentary about his life. Fucking love that. Excellent.
That was a good one.
It wasn't all good things about him. There was some stuff said about him on there as well. There's probably the same thing about 90 other things. Look, it all depends on the character of yourself, how you're going to read this. The Ultimate Warrior has had it took him a very long time to make amends with WWE, and it's the same thing as well at the same time. Look, I'm like, all right, make one, do it, but it all depends how they make it. Are they going to make it shit on Ultimate Warrior, or are they going to put both sides of the story? I'm hoping they do both sides of the story to let the internet and make people think about it, and they just go from there.
I'm sure it'll be a both sides of the story kind of thing, but it's just the minute you hear that.
Yeah, but you can't say
it's going to always trigger the people that want to, start the whole ranting about him and everything. It's just like,
okay, so I'm going to throw this back at you. You can't say about Brian Pillman that they can't make a documentary of Ill on the Dead and do things like that, and then say the same thing that they can't make a documentary about the Ultimate Warrior.
Let me just say, it's the same with Chris Benoit as well. They made it a balanced documentary. They didn't just focus on the dark side. Pardon the pun. It's a good. Oh man, that episode, I'm not gonna lie, I almost got a bit emotional watching it because man, they brought in Eddie Guerrero into it as well. So.
No, don't know if I'm gonna watch it now. So
What?
last thing before we finish off, Jim Ross has come out and said that the greatest, the best
Yeah,
wrestler that is at the moment is Randy Orton. Chris Jericho, by the way, has just come out and
I've
said
seen.
that
Yeah,
his greatest wrestler is Kenny Omega. By the way, this is the same Chris Jericho that has come out about 7 times in the past saying Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle. I don't think he actually knows what best wrestler is, and so
he's also praised Sammy Guevara. So what does that tell you?
yeah, I can't stand. I don't know how he's got a job, and we're talking about Velveteen Dream.
But then again, so did Randy Orton. But that was before the thing. Yeah. To answer what you were saying, I mean, I liked it. I liked it and I laughed at the same time because it kind of shows that Jim Ross is still a WWE guy at the end of the day because he wouldn't be saying that if he
Well, he
wasn't.
said WWE title on AEW telly, so
Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say is that if he was completely against the company, he would not be putting over their guys the way he has.
no.
You know,
One question for you before we
I
wrap
will
this up.
say, I think Randy is definitely one of the best performers right now going.
Don't answer this. Don't go any further because I know what you're about to say. You're about to ruin my question I'm about to ask you. So stop it.
All right, okay. Go on.
One question to finish off with. Quick answer because I know how you ramble on for about 20 minutes.
You want to talk about rambling now?
Yeah, I know. I went most rambling today. Who is the best all-round wrestler in the world right now?
Now, when you say all round, are you talking about who's firing on all cylinders from the promos to the in the ring and everything?
Whatever tickles your fancy. I've got 2.
I've got 2 as well, but it's only because one of them we already were talking about is just the other one I can't not say at this point because he's basically got all of his game as well. And they both start with both the names start with R as well. So it's just like, So yeah, Randy Orton is definitely one of the best, definitely on that list right now. But I'd be lying if I didn't mention Roman Reigns.
Okay, I've got 3 now. So
I would have said Drew McIntyre if Drew hadn't dropped down a little bit.
Okay, so mine is what the 2 you said and Karrion Kross.
Cross, eh? I wouldn't say. I'd say Cross works. I'll say Cross.
It's the best.
Pardon me?
I'm going with Kross.
I'd say Cross as a worker. I think he works. He keeps it simple, and he's working it simple and not going over. He's not overdoing it. If that makes sense, which he doesn't have to do. So I think that's what I like about his style is that he's not trying to. I mean, have we seen him do any high flying moves?
Don't need to, do we?
Have we seen him try doing any though? He doesn't have to. That's my point.
Don't think so.
So my point is that he's keeping it, the way he needs to do it. And he's got that psychology mastered, and he's basically like at that point now, which is basically, I don't want to say like a young Brock Lesnar, but he's basically like,
no, Brock,
I guess like what you saying earlier.
Karrion Kross. That's why. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is that like when you see Cross in the ring, you know what to expect. You know he's gonna Sayo suplex the shit out of everyone.
No.
You know that he's just gonna completely dominate that match like an animal. And I'm saying that's what I like about Cross as well. I'm not saying he's not a top performer. He'll get there, but in order to get there, he has to move from NXT and he has to really push himself with the big guys. That's my opinion.
No,
before I can say that.
It's the best in the world. Okay. So yes, that's it. Thank you guys ever so much for joining us. That is a very long episode. So thank you guys ever so much. Hopefully you don't hear the person telling us if it's recording or not. I need to fucking work out how to stop that. But we will see you guys next week where we will carry on doing our reviews of what's happened this week. And anything that happens outside of wrestling as well. Most probably something will. And we will see you guys next week. All love, all care, and bye.
See ya.